Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Now we're in part 2 of our discussion ng Border Security Bill or Bill C2. May C3 din kasi na-confuse na kayo. C2 itong pinag-uusapan natin. Pag-usapan natin kung paano naman naapektuhan ito o maaaring maapektuhan ang mga nag apply for refugee, mga nagsisik ng asylum. I think maikli lang, yung summary nito, Lou, is kapag ito ay naipasa na, isa ng ganap na batas, ang isang tao na pumasok ng Canada, hindi na siya papayagang mag-seek ng asylum o mag-apply para maging refugee if nandito na siya sa Canada o if nasa Canada na siya for 1 year. Tama ba
Yeah.
yun, Lou? I think that's the gist of
So
it, right?
the gist of it is
Yeah.
kung ikaw isang foreign national, you arrived in Canada after June 24, 2020,
Mm.
either as a student or basta temporary resident, tapos saka ka palang magsasampa ng claim for asylum na may 1 taon na ang nakalipas, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-claim. Yun yung pinakamalaking change.
Okay. Yeah. And do you find that unreasonable? Ano ba? Tama ba yun? What do you think about that policy? Proposed policy?
On its face, it looks really good, 'di ba? Kasi bakit nga naman hindi sila
Mhm.
nag-claim ng asylum nung pumasok pa lang sila? Pero titignan mo rin from a common sense perspective, yung mundo gumagalaw. Puwedeng isang araw umalis ka ng Ukraine, napakaganda ng araw, blue skies, harvest season, tapos nandun pa lola mo, tapos paglingon mo palikod, invade na sila ng Russia, 'di ba? So,
Oo.
paano mo sasabihin na hindi nagbabago ang sitwasyon sa inyong home country? Na sa kabilang banda,
Mhm.
alam mo yun, isang araw napakaayos sa, let's say, sa um, Afghanistan, nandun naman ang US forces, 'di ba? There is a government that accepts women in public life. Tapos biglang isang araw, umalis ang Amerika, tapos yung mga Taliban nagsibalik sa kapangyarihan, sa poder. Tapos lahat ngayon ng mga babae hindi na makalabas, na mas may karapatan pang lumabas ang pusa at ang kambing kaysa sa mga babae sa public spaces,
Oo.
'di ba? So, hindi natin puwedeng tanggalin yung fact na nagbabago ang mundo. So, from that perspective, napaka-problematic niya.
Oo. Hindi kaya posible magkaroon 'to ng exemptions eventually, Lou? Again, to specifically cater to that to those scenarios that you are
Mhm.
talking about. Honestly, no, the bill is so long. Hindi ko na himay kung meron nga bakang provision that may allow those types of people to apply after 1 year.
Right. There are two possibilities here. Number one is people who are affected by the ineligibility. Kasi bukod dun sa 1 year bar, 'di ba, na sinabi natin, yung mga may iba din na mga nakapasok ng Canada from the US through the land border, 'di ba? Through ports of entry could make a claim na who make a claim rather after 14 days, okay lang, mare-refer sila sa Refugee Protection Division. Pero itong bagong proposal na ito, sinasabi nga na hindi na nila puwedeng gawin 'yun. So, kasama sila dun sa mga ineligible na for refugee determination. So, you were asking kung ano yung mga puwede pang options. Well, for them, puwede pa yung PRA, yung tinatawag na Pre-Removal Risk Assessment. Kasi si Canada kasi merong mga international obligations under international law to not refoul or to return someone to a place na kung saan sila ay they could face danger, kasama na diyan ang torture, 'di ba? So kapag pasok sila sa PRA exception, that's great. Pero ang problema kasi dito sa PRA, while it's available, it's also not as robust as a refugee determination process sa RPD, and it's also um, very arbitrary. Kasi ano 'to,
Yeah.
usapan, submission, chikahan with a CBSA officer, walang transparency. Kasi ano 'to, in camera 'to. In other words, closed quarters kayo. Hindi kagaya ng RPD, it's a board. It's open to the public, 'di ba? So, yung question of transparency
Yeah.
nandun. So, dahil wala kang transparency, there are questions of fairness. Nangyayari na ba ang PRAS right now? Yes, PRAS are happening, but yun nga yung question of like accountability, transparency ay naroroon nga. Pangalawang option, and I will be quick on this,
Yeah.
is a humanitarian and compassionate grounds application. Although,
Oh,
naghigpit na dyan dati pa nung panahon pa ni Prime Minister Stephen Harper. I was there when they tightened the screws on this one. Basically, you cannot make an HNC claim if you have made a refugee claim in the past 1 year, right?
oh.
Kung meron kang active refugee claim in the last year, retrospective, hindi ka pwede mag-HNC. So, ang typical na nangyayari dyan kapag kami nagko-consult sa akin, sinasabi ko, you cannot do both. You have to choose one route. Pili ka. You choose your lane. You pick your lane and you stick to it. Yan, kung pinila mo yung refugee, tapos hindi gumana, pwede ka mag-HNC, pero maghintay ka pa ng 1 taon. In the meantime, you could face removal. Diba?
Mhm. Okay. Guys, I know that my signal is iffy. Nagpipixelize ako, nag-freeze ako. Sometimes, I apologize for that. Talaga namang medyo maulan pa ngayon sa panahon na sa oras na nag-tape kami ni Luno. I think it's also affecting my already iffy signal. Am I coming across clear? Nakikita ko naka-freeze na naman ako. Ano ba yan?
I think
But
nawala
anyway,
ka
I
dun
think
for
Lou,
like...
itong refugee program, it's not very common. Sa totoo lang, no? It's not a common application made by Filipinos.
It's very rare. Very rare ang claims from Filipinos as a group. To my knowledge, ang mga nagsasucceed lang ng mga refugee claims from the Philippines are those who are being persecuted, not by government, in fact, but by churches and by sects. So, hindi ko na lang babanggitin kung ano mga simbahan at sekta ito, pero nandun po yung mga desisyon ng RPD. Google nyo po sila. Very prominent po ito.
But anyway, I mentioned that because as we know, itong refugee program, pinupuntirya din ito over the past year because of people using the program to extend their stay in Canada.
Yes.
Diba? There are reports of, let's say, mga students, dumarating dito as students and then mag-file o mag-seek ng asylum. Right now, because of the issue of many people facing expiring visas, baka iniisip din ng ilan, mag-a-apply sila dito just to buy time dahil merong processing time din yan. How do you think will this policy, do you think it would be an effective one to address those problems?
It is as effective as using a hammer to kill a mosquito in a room full of glass.
Okay.
So, long story short, ganun siya ka-extreme. Kasi hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na ang mga refugee, let's put it this way, people who legitimately want asylum and they have legitimate refugee claims do not do this out of pure pleasure na isang araw nagising na lang sila. Imagine leaving your home country kung saan masaya ka, kung saan nandun ang iyong pamilya. Let's say may economic hardships. Yeah, economic refugees are also, a fact of life. Pero it's not one of the convention recognized categories. But long story short dito is, yun nga, meron mga party poopers na ginagamit itong ruta na to na nasa-spoil for everyone else, which is not good. But at the same time, let's be careful and let's be respectful and kind din. Kasi pwedeng pumasok din naman, pwedeng totoo din naman na pumasok silang student. Nagbago din talaga yung sitwasyon sa kanilang home country. Di natin alam. So let's not rush the judgment. Yun lang naman yung pakiusap ko sa mga nakikinig. Siguro ang tanong na lang dito is, paano ba natin gagawin in a way na mai-enforce natin yung ating integrity ng sistema while balancing our humanitarian commitments. And I think this goes down to basically a more effective temporary resident program in Canada na nasasala talaga kung sino yung pumapasok. At pag tutugis din, kasi nabanggit mo may mga students na gumagawa nito, Ina. Pero ang totoo niyan, meron ding reports na kumakalat na marami dito sa mga nagke-claim na ito ay assisted by ghost consultants.
Oo, sila din dapat parusahan yan eh.
Dapat talagang maparusahan ng, and babalik dito tayo sa part 1 ng discussion natin kanina, kailangan ba talaga 'to? Sabi ko nga, bakit hindi muna natin gamitin lahat ng tools na sa toolkit natin? Bakit hindi muna natin i-prosecute yung mga nandirito na sa Canada, mga low-hanging fruit, bigyan ng sample, 'di ba?
Mm. Yeah, okay. Fair point, fair point. What do you think, Lou, 'no? Parang, since, I think in closing na lang 'to,
Sige.
the newly elected, Prime Minister and his team na alam niyo naman recently formed lang 'to 'no, parang biglang boom! Biglang sobra 'no ang, tightening sa again immigration. What do you think is going to happen moving forward? Do you think this is going to be the norm na talagang clamping down on the different, pathways here?
Um, the general mood kasi kapag new government is like they want to come in hot. Kasi madami pa silang
Mhm.
political capital, marami pang goodwill,
Okay.
'di ba? Kaya po pwede pa nilang i-advance. Tas meron ding narrow period. You have to remember, this is a minority government. The Liberals do not have a majority of the seats, number one. Number two, merong tinatawag na parliamentary peace dahil nag-commit yung isa sa mga major parties in parliament, the Bloc Québécois, that there will be peace for at least 1 year. So
Mhm.
ito yung leg room ng Liberal government to do whatever they want. So it does feel like it's fast.
Mhm.
If it's a question of tightening immigration, I don't think it's a tightening per se, but rather, kung programs yung pinag-uusapan natin, I don't think it's a tightening, but rather on basically putting up like a show that we have a strong and macho immigration system, if I can call it that, na alam mo yun, very jingoistic nga na naka-encapsulate siya in a Borders Act, 'di ba? Border Protection Act. Parang una sa lahat, wait, anong border ang kailangan ng protection? Yung border ng Canada ba na nilulusatan ng daming loose firearms from the US, 'di ba? So parang
Oo.
immigration is a problem, yes, but is it really the biggest problem here? Parang kumbaga yung argument ng Canada parati about the fentanyl problem, 'di ba, in North America is that sabi ng US, ng White House nga, is karamihan ng fentanyl galing sa Mexico tsaka sa Canada na alam naman natin na while meron, hindi naman ganun karami talaga. Napakaliit, less than 1% galing sa Canada.
Yeah.
Na pangalawang punto, na actually meron tayong gun problem in Canada right now. Alam naman natin, stricter ang gun controls in Canada. Saan ba galing yung mga baril? Di sa US. So parang, teka lang,
Mhm.
baka, yes, border control is an issue, pero baka hindi yung immigration yung problema. So, mag-isip-isip tayo sa ginagawa ng ating gobyerno. Sumulat kayo sa ating mga MPs. And I remind people that even if you're not a citizen, even if you're just a permanent resident or a temporary resident, you are entitled to your opinion. You can write to your local MP. And if you write to your local MP by mail, Canada Post will take your mail for free if you're doing it from
Mhm.
inside Canada.
Okay. Yun lang naman. That is episode 2. And for now, dito muna matatapos ang ating discussion on the border security bill. Maraming salamat, immigration lawyer Lou Dangzalan. We have more episodes coming still with Lou, okay? I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!